resilience, the definition of resilience is the ability to withstand, adapt, and recover from challenges. It's more than just bouncing back. It is bouncing back and finding a new path forward. If you find a new path forward, you are then on the path to becoming the ideal future self, the person that God is shaping you to be. And I hope that you want to be what God is shaping you to be right now. And He uses suffering and hardship to get you there. The Apostle Paul talks about this in Romans chapter 5 when he says that in suffering we are able to persevere. But that perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. So let's talk about perseverance for just a minute. Perseverance is the driving force behind being resilient. This would be important for you to teach your grandchildren or your children. Teaching them to overcome by bouncing back, finding a new path forward through whatever challenge or obstacle they're facing. How do you do that? You persevere. That is the driving force. It means that you endure through the face of troubles. Teach your children to endure. The troubles and the obstacles they are facing are just simply a part of life. They are a part of who they are, and it helps them to become at God's best. It means, perseverance does, committing to long-term goals. Setting long-term goals as children, as teenagers, and as adults is important because it helps us to stay focused on what God has for us, and it helps us to learn from our failure. It helps us to be transformed from our mistakes. So again, that we're not conformed to this world, but we're transformed through the renewing of our minds. Amen. So there's perseverance, that's the driving force. Character, that's the inner strength. Character is the inner strength. And that has to do with our integrity and our moral grounding. Let's help one another to have the kind of character, integrity, and moral grounding that keeps us strong and keeps us adhering to our values. Adhering to our values under pressure is what is essential here. And I think this is what is happening in many of our churches and many of our communities. When pressure comes, we wilt. We give in and we give up. You can't give in, you can't give up, you don't wilt, you press forward and stick to your values. That helps you to have emotional maturity. And many of us are suffering from emotional immaturity because we didn't make it through the hard times. We gave in. We gave up along the way. And so we didn't develop. We didn't allow God to develop us. Instead, we developed fearfulness. We had an attitude and maybe have an attitude of fearfulness and uncertainty. But that's where God shapes us and sharpens us. He builds our character in the fire. And that, by the way, helps you to build courage. So that you can build courage in your life, you persevere. He builds character in you. And as you develop character, courage becomes a part of your life. And then there's hope. So there's perseverance, character, and hope. That's the forward vision. There's the driving force, there's the inner strength, and the forward vision. That's hope. It's belief in a better future, a tomorrow that is optimistic no matter what adversity has come your way. It's motivation to continue striving. This is what you have to teach your grandchildren who are working right now or playing sports right now. Don't give up when things get hard. That's how you learn hope, by getting up and going the next play, going back to work, not giving up, not giving in, and certainly not giving in to despair. This ultimately ends up in this. When you have hope in your life because you have character, you're persevering, it inspires other people. Help your grandchildren to learn to be an inspiration to other kids. You be an inspiration to other people by living with an optimistic hope for tomorrow. This is the kind of resiliency that we need today. Resiliency that helps us to drive forward by faith, focus on the battle that God has set in front of us, and not wilt under pressure. Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope.